All right, get ready because we're diving into something pretty spectacular happening in just a few days.
Oh, yeah.
A planetary parade.
Very cool,
And
huh?
not just any planetary parade. This one's going to be visible right across the night sky on February 28th.
Wow.
So we're talking 7 planets all strung out there like a cosmic necklace.
I like that, a cosmic necklace.
Saturn, Mercury, even Neptune, Venus, Uranus, Jupiter, and Mars.
So it's like a who's who of the solar system.
Yeah, pretty much. And the best part, you won't see this kind of lineup again until 2040.
Oh, wow. So this is a can't-miss event.
Absolutely a can't-miss event. So, imagine looking up and seeing all those planets just kind of hanging out together up there. How cool is that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that it's not actually a straight line in space, right?
Right.
It's an illusion we get because we're viewing it from Earth.
Okay.
So these planets are all orbiting the sun on a similar plane like cars on a racetrack.
I see.
And every so often they bunch up on one side from our perspective. And that's what creates this amazing visual spectacle.
Gotcha. So it's more like they're all in the same neighborhood of the solar system. Just from our view, it looks like they're lined up.
Exactly. And it's a sight that's fascinated people for centuries.
Oh, for sure. I was reading about how ancient cultures like the Babylonians and Greeks, they saw these alignments as super significant,
Oh, yeah, they were big on that.
like omens and stuff woven into all their myths and stories.
Yeah, the Babylonians were meticulous record keepers. They really believed that planetary movements held the key to understanding like everything that happened here on Earth.
It's fascinating how they connected the dots between the heavens and our lives down here.
And for the Greeks, well, their mythology is full of stories about gods and goddesses who were associated with specific planets.
So those alignments must have been like watching their myths play out in the sky.
In a way, yeah, it's pretty cool when you think about it.
From omens to mythology, planetary alignments have always captured our imaginations, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. And what I find amazing is that we can now predict these events with such accuracy.
That is pretty mind-blowing.
Thanks to our understanding of planetary orbits, we know the speed and the path of each planet.
So it's not just random chance anymore. It's like we've cracked the code of the cosmos.
Exactly. It's a testament to how far we've come in our understanding of the universe.
Okay, so for those of us eager to witness this planetary parade, what's the prime viewing time?
Well, timing is everything here.
I bet.
Your best bet is to catch the show right after sunset on the 28th. As soon as that sun dips below the horizon, you got to head outside and look west.
Okay, so be swift about it.
Exactly, because those planets will be setting relatively quickly.
I see.
So the earlier you start, the more you'll get to see.
Makes sense. So let's say sunset's approaching and we're ready to go. Where should we head to get the best view?
Well, think dark skies.
Okay,
Light pollution is the enemy when it comes to stargazing.
right.
Aim for a location that's far from city lights, wide open spaces, rural areas, national parks.
Anywhere where those city lights won't drown out the stars.
Exactly. Anything with minimal light interference and a clear view of the western horizon.
Got it. So picture this. We're out in the countryside. Stars are starting to twinkle. The western sky is darkening. What planets will we actually be able to see with the naked eye?
Well, the brightest ones will be easy to spot: Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars.
Oh, nice. Those are the big hitters.
Yeah, especially Venus. You won't miss that one shining brilliantly near the horizon.
What about Uranus and Neptune? Are those visible without any special equipment?
Those two are much fainter. You'll need a good pair of binoculars or a basic telescope to see them properly.
Okay, so a little bit of help for those distant ice giants.
Exactly. And even Saturn, usually a bright standout, will be a bit tricky this time because it's going to be pretty close to the sun.
Ah, I see. So even Saturn might need a little optical boost.
You might need some help to pick it out, yeah.
Speaking of equipment, let's talk binoculars. What should we be looking for if we want to get a better view of this planetary parade?
Okay, so with binoculars, you're mainly looking at two things: magnification and light gathering power.
Okay.
A good starting point would be a pair with a magnification of 7x to 10x.
What does that mean exactly?
It means they'll make objects appear 7 to 10 times closer.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and also look for an objective lens diameter of around 50 millimeters.
Now, when you say objective lens diameter, can you break that down a bit for those of us who aren't, binocular experts?
Sure, no problem. The objective lens is the one at the front of the binoculars, the one that gathers the light.
Okay.
The diameter measured in millimeters determines how much light the binoculars can capture.
Right.
So a larger diameter means more light, and that results in a brighter image, which is especially helpful for viewing those faint objects like Uranus and Neptune.
So basically, it's like having a bigger window to capture all that light from those distant planets.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And if we want to get like a really close-up view, what about telescopes? What kind of telescope would be good for a first-timer?
For beginners, I'd recommend a refracting telescope. They use lenses to gather and focus light,
Okay,
which makes them fairly simple to operate.
I see.
An aperture of around 80 millimeter would be a good starting point. Okay.
providing clear views of the planets without being too complex to
So
manage.
it's like a good balance between power and user-friendliness.
Exactly, and you can find some excellent starter models at a reasonable price.
That's great to know. So we've got our locations sorted, we've learned about binoculars and telescopes, and we're ready to embrace the darkness. Anything else we need to bring along?
Oh yes, one more essential item, a red light flashlight.
Oh, a red light flashlight. Why is that so important?
It's crucial for preserving your night vision.
Right.
See, white light disrupts your eye's ability to adjust to the darkness.
I've definitely experienced that.
It makes it harder to see those fainter planets.
Yeah, you get that sudden blast of white light, and it's like your night vision is gone.
Exactly, but red light won't interfere with your night vision as much.
Ah, that's a great tip. So red light it is now. Once we're all set up with our red lights and our chosen viewing equipment, where exactly should we be looking in the sky to find each planet in the celestial lineup? It's like we need a map of this planetary parade route, right? You got to think of it as a treasure hunt across the night sky.
I like that, a treasure hunt.
So let's start with Mars. It'll be shining with its distinctive reddish hue,
Okay.
positioned above the southern horizon in the constellation Gemini.
All right, Mars and Gemini, that's our first landmark now. Where do we go from there?
From Mars, shift your gaze slightly downward towards the constellation Taurus.
Taurus, okay.
That's where you'll find Jupiter, the second brightest planet in the night sky.
Gotcha.
You can't miss it with its steady silvery glow.
Okay, so we've got the two brightest giants, Mars and Jupiter, locked in. What's next on our planetary treasure hunt?
Next, we venture a bit further out into the solar system.
Lead the way.
Turn your attention to the constellation Aries, which sits right next to Taurus.
All right, Aries next to Taurus.
And nestled within Aries, you'll find Uranus.
Okay.
But remember, it's faint, so you'll need those binoculars or your telescope to really appreciate its subtle greenish hue.
Uranus and Aries got it. Now we can't forget about the brightest planet in our sky, Venus. Where will that dazzling beauty be?
Venus will be impossible to miss. It'll be the most brilliant object near the western horizon, shining brightly in the constellation Pisces.
Near the western horizon. Pisces got it. I'm already picturing it. It must be a truly stunning sight, especially against the backdrop of a twilight sky. Now, where does elusive Neptune fit into this picture?
Neptune will be playing a game of cosmic hide-and-seek near Venus.
Oh, fun.
It's also in Pisces, but much fainter. You'll definitely need a telescope to catch a glimpse of this icy giant.
Neptune near Venus in Pisces, using the telescope to spot it. Okay, we're down to our last two planets, the trickiest ones to spot in this entire lineup, Mercury and Saturn. Where should we be looking for these elusive wanderers?
Both Mercury and Saturn will be hanging out in the constellation Aquarius, very close to the horizon.
Okay.
That makes them quite a challenge to see because of the sun's glare.
Right.
Mercury especially will be extremely close to the setting sun.
Which brings us back to that all-important safety reminder, looking directly at the sun can cause serious eye damage. So please, everyone, exercise extreme caution when trying to spot Mercury and Saturn near the horizon. No planetary parade is worth risking your eyesight for.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, before we dive into the unique characteristics of each planet, let's just take a moment to appreciate the sheer scale of this event. 7 planets gracing our night sky. It's like a cosmic ballet unfolding before our very eyes.
It truly is. And while we're focusing on the visual spectacle, it's also a chance to reflect on the deeper meaning of these alignments.
Yeah, for sure.
Throughout history, people have sought to understand the significance of these celestial gatherings, attributing them with all sorts of powers and omens.
It's like they were trying to find a connection between these cosmic events and our lives here on Earth.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that with modern astronomy, we can now explain these events with remarkable precision.
Yeah, we've come a long way from omens and myths.
We have. It's a reminder of how far we've come in our understanding of the universe.
But even with our scientific knowledge, there's still a sense of wonder and awe when we witness these planetary parades, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a humbling experience, realizing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves.
It really puts things into perspective.
This alignment is a chance to connect with the vastness of space and to appreciate the delicate balance of our solar system.
Beautifully put, it's not just about ticking off planets on a list. It's about experiencing the grandeur of the cosmos and letting it spark our curiosity.
I love that.
Speaking of curiosity, let's delve a bit deeper into the fascinating world of these planetary VIPs.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, so let's take a closer look at each of these planets. In our celestial lineup, we've got fiery Mars giant, Jupiter icy Uranus, and Neptune brilliant Venus, and then the kind of elusive Mercury and Saturn. Each one's got its own story to tell, right?
They do, for sure. Let's start with Mars, shall we? Our reddish neighbor?
Yeah, the one that's always getting linked with war and aggression.
Right, exactly. And that fiery hue, it does kind of evoke a sense of power.
It does.
But Mars is more than just its color. Yeah.
I'm all yours. Tell me more. What makes Mars so fascinating?
Well, for one thing, it's a surprisingly dynamic planet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has massive volcanoes, canyons that, like, put the Grand Canyon to shame,
Wow.
and polar ice caps that actually expand and shrink with the seasons.
No way. So it has seasons like Earth.
It does in a way, and there's even evidence of ancient riverbeds.
Riverbeds, what does that mean?
Well, it suggests that liquid water might have flowed on Mars billions of years ago.
Whoa, a planet with a watery past. That's incredible.
It really makes you wonder if life could have existed there, right?
It does, for sure. So are scientists looking into that.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the big drivers behind Mars exploration today.
What are they trying to find out?
Well, they want to know, was there ever life on Mars? And if so, could there still be microbial life hiding beneath the surface?
So it's like a Cosmin detective story.
Kind of, yeah. It's pretty exciting.
It is. Speaking of size, let's talk about Jupiter, the king of our solar system. I mean, its sheer scale is just mind-blowing.
Jupiter is a true behemoth. It's a gas giant so large that you could fit over 1,300 Earths inside it.
1,300 Earth. That's insane.
And it's not just big, it's incredibly active. Its atmosphere is constantly swirling with storms.
Yeah, I've heard about the Great Red Spot.
That's right, that's a colossal storm that's been raging for centuries.
Centuries, our hurricanes are like little gusts of wind compared to that.
The Great Red Spot is so large that you could fit several Earths inside it.
Wow, okay, that really puts things into perspective.
And it's not the only storm on Jupiter. The entire planet is a whirlwind of swirling gases and powerful winds.
It sounds like a pretty wild place.
It is, but in a way, it's also kind of a protector.
What do you mean?
Well, Jupiter's gravity is so strong that it acts like a shield for the inner solar system.
A shield? How so?
It deflects comets and asteroids that might otherwise threaten Earth.
Oh, wow, so it's like our cosmic bodyguard.
Exactly. It's a gentle giant despite its stormy temperament.
I like that, a gentle giant. Okay, we've covered the fiery and the giant. Now let's venture out to the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune.
Those are the farthest out there, right?
Yeah, they're so far away, it's hard to even imagine their distance from the sun.
They orbit in the cold, dark depths beyond Saturn. Uranus is the first one on our list.
And what's special about Uranus?
Well, it's a world of turquoise hues, for one thing.
Turquoise, how cool.
It's also tilted on its side, like a spinning top that's fallen over.
Tilted on its side. What causes that?
Scientists believe that a massive collision early in its history might have knocked Uranus off its axis.
Wow, so he's like a planet that got knocked sideways.
Exactly. And imagine a planet with seasons that last for decades, with one pole bathed in sunlight for years, while the other is shrouded in darkness.
That's wild. So it's like a planet of extremes.
It is. And then there's Neptune, the other ice giant.
Tell me about Neptune.
It's a world of deep blue hues, shrouded in a thick atmosphere of hydrogen, helium, and methane. It's known for its fierce storms and supersonic winds.
So even though it's so far from the sun, it's still got a lot going on.
Absolutely. The internal heat generated by these ice giants drives their atmospheric activity.
It's amazing how diverse the planets in our solar system are.
It really is. Each one is unique and fascinating in its own way.
All right, from the ice giants, let's jump back towards the inner solar system and talk about Venus, the dazzling beauty that will be lighting up the western sky.
Ah, Venus, the goddess of love and beauty.
And the hottest planet in our solar system.
That's right. It's often called Earth's twin because of its similar size and composition.
Oh, I see.
But don't let that fool you. Venus is a world of scorching temperatures.
Why is that?
Well, it's got this thick, toxic atmosphere that traps heat like a runaway greenhouse.
So despite its beauty, Venus is definitely not a place you'd want to visit without some serious protection.
Not unless you want to melt.
No thanks. I'll stick to admiring it from afar.
It's definitely a planet of extremes.
All right, now let's turn our attention to the final two planets on our list, the trickiest ones to spot in this alignment, Mercury and Saturn.
You're talking about the ones closest to the sun, right?
Yeah, those two. Why are they so hard to
Well, Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system, and it's the closest to the sun.
So it's kind of zipping around the sun at super speed?
Exactly, and because it's so close, it experiences scorching hot days and frigidly cold nights.
Wow, talk about a planet of extremes.
It's a wild ride for sure. And then there's Saturn, of course, the ringed wonder.
The one with the iconic rings.
Exactly. It's a gas giant adorned with those rings made up of countless ice and rock particles. Seeing those rings through a telescope is truly breathtaking.
I've been lucky enough to see Saturn through a telescope before, and I have to agree those rings are mesmerizing.
It's a sight you don't forget, and it just shows you the incredible beauty and complexity of our solar system.
It makes you wonder what other marvels are out there hidden from our view, just waiting to be discovered.
That's the beauty of astronomy. There's always something new to explore.
Well, this planetary parade has definitely gotten me excited to do some exploring. I'm already picturing myself bundled up, red flashlight in hand, gazing up at the night sky.
I hope you have clear skies for the big night.
Me too, but before we get too carried away with the vastness of it all, let's bring it back down to Earth for a moment and talk about the practicalities of actually observing this event.
Yeah, good idea. Let's get practical.
We've covered the planets themselves, but what about actually seeing them? What tips and resources can you share to help our listeners prepare for their planetary parade viewing party?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say plan ahead, check the weather forecast, choose your viewing location carefully, and gather your equipment, your binoculars, telescope, red light, flashlight, and a star chart or astronomy app.
Speaking of star charts and astronomy apps, can you recommend any specific ones that would be helpful for this event?
Oh, absolutely. There are many great options out there, both free and paid. Some popular stargazing apps include Stellarium Sky Safari and Starwalk.
I've heard of those.
These apps are great. They allow you to identify constellations, planets, and other celestial objects in real time, which makes it much easier to navigate the night sky.
I can see how those would be super useful, especially for beginners.
You could even simulate the view from your location on a specific date and time, so you can preview the planetary parade before you even head out.
Oh, that's cool. So you can kind of practice finding the planets beforehand.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of it.
All right, so now let's talk about setting up for the big night. What are some key things to keep in mind when choosing a viewing location and preparing for the observation itself?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, minimizing light pollution is crucial.
Right, find those dark skies.
Exactly. The darker the sky, the better you'll be able to see those fainter planets.
So even a short drive to a more rural area can make a big difference.
It can make all the difference, and once you've found your spot, give your eyes some time to adjust to the darkness.
How long does that usually take?
About 20 to 30 minutes for your pupils to fully dilate, which allows you to see more stars and those fainter objects.
So patience is key.
And remember that red light flashlight we talked about?
Oh, yeah, the night vision saver?
Exactly. Use it to preserve your night vision when you need to consult your star chart or adjust your equipment.
Gotcha. It's all about optimizing our viewing experience, right?
Exactly. And minimizing those distractions so we can really appreciate the wonder of this celestial event.
Now, this planetary parade isn't just a solo mission, is it?
Oh, definitely not.
It's an opportunity to share the experience with others.
Absolutely. Stargazing is a fantastic activity to do with friends, family, or even your local astronomy club.
Yeah, I can imagine it being a really fun group activity.
Imagine gathering around a telescope, pointing out the planets, sharing stories and knowledge about the cosmos. It's a bonding experience that creates lasting memories.
It sounds magical.
And it's a great way to introduce children to the wonders of astronomy.
Get them hooked on space exploration early.
Exactly. Sharing the experience with younger generations can spark their curiosity, inspire them to learn more about science and space, maybe even set them on a path to becoming future astronomers or astronauts.
I love that idea, passing on the torch of cosmic curiosity.
It's a beautiful thing.
This planetary parade is more than just a visual spectacle. It's a chance to connect with others, to share in a sense of wonder, and to foster a love of learning and exploration.
Couldn't agree more.
And before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I wanted to touch on one more aspect, the rarity of this event. We've mentioned that this alignment won't happen again for almost 2 decades, but how often do these kinds of planetary gatherings actually occur?
That's a great question. It all comes down to their individual orbital periods. You know those cosmic laps they're running around the sun?
Right, some planets are speed demons and others are taking their sweet time.
Exactly. Some planets like Mercury zip around quite quickly, while others like Neptune take their sweet time.
It's like a cosmic dance with each planet moving at its own rhythm, and every so often they all sync up just right, creating this stunning spectacle we call a planetary parade.
Precisely. And while these alignments are fascinating, it's important to remember that they don't actually change the fundamental dynamics of the solar system.
It's all about perspective, isn't it?
It's a cosmic reminder that our view from Earth is just a tiny snapshot of the vast and complex universe out there.
That's a humbling thought, but it doesn't diminish the beauty or the significance of this event, does it?
Not at all. It's a chance to step outside ourselves to feel a sense of awe and wonder at the beauty and grandeur of the cosmos.
And that, I think, is what makes this planetary parade so special. It's a reminder that there's always more to explore, more to learn, and more to discover, both within our own solar system and beyond. So let's cherish this opportunity to witness 7 planets gracing our night sky and let it fuel our curiosity about the universe we inhabit.
Beautifully said.
And with that, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the experience of observing this planetary parade and the deeper meaning it holds for us as inhabitants of this vast and wondrous universe. We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From the planets themselves to the best viewing times and even the right equipment to use.
Yeah, we've been on quite a journey.
So now I want to shift gears a bit and talk about the experience itself. The feeling of actually witnessing a planetary parade. What's that like?
Well, it's definitely a feeling of awe, that's for sure.
I can imagine.
There's something incredibly humbling about seeing those celestial wanderers,
Yeah.
just stung across the night sky and knowing that they've been circling the sun for billions of years.
It's like a glimpse into deep time, isn't it?
It is. It really connects us to the vastness of the universe and reminds us that we're part of something much grander than ourselves.
And I bet it sparks a lot of curiosity, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like people looking up and asking all sorts of questions about those planets.
Yeah,
How did they form? Are there other solar systems out there with similar alignments? Is there life on those distant worlds?
exactly. Those are the big questions that these events inspire.
It's the beauty of astronomy, isn't it?
It is. It's constantly pushing us to expand our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
Now, you mentioned earlier that these alignments don't actually change the fundamental dynamics of our solar system.
Right. They're more about perspective.
But I'm curious, from a purely visual perspective, could the planets ever perfectly align in a straight line from our vantage point?
Hmm. That's a great question, and it really highlights the intricate dance of the planets.
Yeah.
While they all orbit on a similar plane, their speeds and distances vary so much.
Right, like some are speed demons and others are slow pokes.
Exactly. And that means that a perfect straight line alignment from our perspective is incredibly unlikely.
So it's more of a cosmic coincidence that they even get close to lining up.
It is, and even this type of alignment with 7 planets visible is a rare treat.
It makes it all the more special, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a reminder to savor these celestial moments, to appreciate the beauty and wonder of the universe that surrounds us.
I have to admit, this whole deep dive has really amped up my excitement for this planetary parade.
Oh, that's great.
I'm already picturing myself bundled up, red flashlight in hand, gazing up at the night sky with a sense of awe and wonder.
I love it. And I hope you have clear skies for the big night.
Me too, fingers crossed. But even if you don't have any fancy equipment, the simple act of looking up and witnessing this celestial gathering is an experience of itself, wouldn't you say?
I would absolutely.
It's a reminder that the universe is constantly putting on a show for us if we just take the time to look up and appreciate it.
Well said.
So to our listeners out there, mark your calendars for February 28th, find a dark sky location, and get ready to witness this rare and spectacular event.
And keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop being curious about the cosmos.
Because who knows what other celestial wonders await our discovery.
Exactly. There's always more to see.
Until next time, happy stargazing, everyone.